You go to your hairdresser or your hairstylist and you say, we're having a silent auction. I'm here every month. What can you do for us? And people are willing to honor those relationships. So even if they wouldn't give it to like a person off the street with a letter, they'll give it to you because they know you. So.
And I think it helps for me. I hate doing it terribly, but it helps me a lot if you spread it out. And I'll give myself a goal, like I do one every 2 weeks. I get the courage to ask, and then but I've done it before where I'll try a weekend. I'm gonna go around to like 10 places
that's
and
hard.
I
And
can't
then,
handle.
you get your feelings hurt. You're like, I'm not calling anybody ever again.
But like you just go, okay, I'm gonna do one this weekend when I'm downtown or when I get my hair cut or whatever, and it's amazing, really, how generous they are.
And you think about it too, as much as we as people, as consumers spend for the local economy, we spend a lot of money here. We go to the grocery stores every week. We go get our hair done. We get our nails done. We buy clothes at these stores. It's not like we're asking for charity.
Right.
We are asking people, thanks especially, to give us back a little bit of the money that we've already given you. This is not something that's really dangerous or excessive. This is, a $30 gift card. This is not, and it's an excellent cause. You're helping the children. Yes, exactly.
Any questions about the silent auction bingo night?
I don't want to be too loud, but my son's Montessori school, they have some sort of deal with the grocery stores where you can buy basically like a Kroger gift card from them, and the school gets a portion of that money. So you buy like a $100 gift card from the school to Kroger, and 10% goes to the school. So I don't know if we're doing
It's unique to Kroger?
No, it's all the grocery. Yeah, Whole Foods. Yeah, I don't know. I can ask and
That'd be great.
find out, but it's a kind of in addition to connecting your value or your bonus points cards or whatever.
That would be awesome if you could find out, especially before Christmas.
Before the holidays,
Okay.
you give your babysitter a Kroger gift card for a Christmas gift.
Oh,
Might as well.
idea.
I just thought about that.
As far as like approaching businesses, you kind of spread those out. I've been involved in that before. To kind of make a list of who was going to talk to different businesses, so you didn't have 6 people going.
I have a list, and normally when I assign people for the distribution list, I have it alphabetized, and so if there's like 10 people, then you might get 10 places or 8 places that I'd ask you to call. And they've all been, I sent the letters out in January, everyone's gotten a letter. If I need to dial that back, the earliest I could get to it would be December 1st. I got a big deadline that I'm doing for this book project, and so I have to get this done. But after that, I'll have some time, and I can work on drafting letters to send out to everybody a month early. I'm not sure if it's going to get caught within the holiday traffic or not.
So while we're out shopping, you can do.
I know exactly. Oh, here's
anyway.
$300, and would you mind maybe a gift card?
Yeah.
Well, and you do wonder if for tax purposes,
Yeah, I do
they
want
want to do those things.
And if you contacted someone and if you've had a success, contact me, and I'll strike that person off the list so that they don't feel hounded. Well, Mona Lisa Pasta said they give us a basket. Stop asking. They don't want to give us anything now. We don't want donor fatigue. We don't want that.
All right. Well, in the absence of our main speaker tonight, I think perhaps parking was an issue because it's a rainy night and there's a concert in the school next door.
So we'll try to have a Virginia Tech admissions counselor. I'm sorry, because I know there's some Virginia people here, but we may have to have a Virginia Tech admissions counselor come over.
Riley wants to go there. Riley mentioned it. He said he wants to go to Tech. He said it.
So I have one more thing I want to say, just business-wise, and then I think Ms. Pillow has something to say. Because perhaps we have a garden or grant with the Shannon Foundation provided a garden bed at the top of the school property. The ones that had been down behind the first and kindergarten classrooms are basically non-existent. They've fallen into disrepair. The barriers, the parameters of them are gone, and those are still of interest for the teachers and for the kids. I know Ms. Cartwright I spoke to recently is very interested in planting bulbs and teaching the kids through that process. So if you are a parent and you have some extra time or some materials and you're interested in providing just, I don't know, I'm not a carpenter, but some wood boards and installing them someday, then that would be really wonderful. And you know, time is precious. The kids could be doing a lot of learning right now, planting bulbs this time of year. So please let me know if you're interested or you know someone. Ms. Bella? Thank you.
I did have a confirmation with our guest speaker as of yesterday for a location and time, so I don't know what happened, so I apologize for that. But I will speak a little bit on our college theme this year. Basically, the college theme for an elementary school at Johnson is we want to give our students exposure to college. Let them know what it is, give them maybe some field trips to see some colleges. I'm working on a project right now where I'm going to lead the students through virtual tours on the internet, which is really neat. I'm having a lot of fun doing that, actually. Some other things we've done, Mr. Bach asked me over the summer to work on getting college pennants to represent each student in our school. So
Each student.
I mean, sorry, each teacher.
Oh my good night, that is a lot of work. I'll talk to you if you need help, God. That's a lot.
But above, if you visit the school above each door, is a college pennant, which represents where each teacher went to college. And the kids are really excited about it. They have lots of questions about it, and so the dialogue has been really good so far. I also have done a college spotlight. So if you're in the lobby, it's near where the book donation is. If you've seen it, I have 2 staff members per time. And right now I think I have Ms. Fowler and Ms. C up there. But I just have 4 quick questions that I email them. They give me answers. I post their answers in their picture, and it tells about what college they went to, what they liked about college, what was one of their, I guess, biggest surprises, or what they learned about it, and then a quick sentence of advice for our students. And I have a lot of fun doing that as well. We've had a college t-shirt day so far, where all the staff members wear their college t-shirts. Some of us have had to go and buy new ones. And we'll continue to have that throughout the year. And actually tomorrow morning, 4th grade is going on a field trip to K-Tech, which I've never been personally, so I'm really excited about it, to learn about some of the things that they're doing there. And then we have future field trips planned later in the year. So we're excited about it. It's something new for us this year, so we're building. But nonetheless, it's exciting. So. Yes.
Do you have a sense of what portion of the school come from homes where there's not a college graduate, for whom this adds extra value?
Mr. Button, probably.
You know,
better.
it's not a true correlation, but 70% of our students receive free and reduced lunch services. So, it wouldn't be a pure correlation, but I would say it's a fair number of our students. And I will say, a real mission of mine is, and I was really hopeful the council would be here tonight, because it's really about making sure our parents understand where there's a will, there's a way. And I was really hopeful. I want to share my personal experience with families, in the sense that I come from a family with poverty. All 3 of myself, my brother and sister all went to college, and we had some crossover times of when my brother was a senior in college with a tuition of $26,000 a year, and I was a freshman in college with a tuition of $28,000 a year. And then my sister was a freshman in college when I was a senior, and her tuition was about $25,000 a year. And we didn't have the money to pay. But my parents, through financial aid, through grants, through exploring every opportunity, made it happen. And I got to tell you, I don't know how they made it happen. I don't know how my family survived through that time, but they did. And I love my parents immensely for that. And it's really getting the word out to families that where there's a will, there's a way. And that's one of my missions. And, I know that I wanted to have that here tonight, and we'll continue to pursue that so we can make that happen. But it's really just one of the big barriers I see is families hear college and they see these big dollar signs, and it is daunting. It's very daunting, especially in our economy, and the prices are going up. but where there's a will, there's a way. And I'll sit down with families and work through that with families if I can. And we're not just promoting college. It's post-secondary education. K-Tech is a huge opportunity for kids. I know, and I was the assistant principal at K-Tech for a couple of years in my administrative career. There's a kiddo over at Crown BMW that's making $90,000 a year working on BMW transmissions, and he's 26 years old.
Can I go to BMW school?
So it's not, the buzzword really is post-secondary education, and that's what employers are telling us, at least 2 years of training beyond high school, whether it's PVCC, whether it's K-Tech, whether it's a 4-year university. But we have high expectations for our kiddos' achievement. We have high expectations for them to continue that education past us, past high school, and down the road. And who knows 10 years from now what that expectation is going to look like.
And I wanted to ask too about, and this is a question for both of you, something that I often find surprising is that UVA is right here. Right here, you can throw a rock and hit UVA, yet many students feel like it's beyond them. And I'm wondering if this has to do with the fact that maybe their families have had a better relationship to UVA, they've worked at UVA in low status positions or low wage positions, they see UVA as kind of the bad guy in some ways.
Right.
And so I think it might be a matter of kind of
Sure.
I don't want to say re-educating, that's the wrong phrase, but just something that says that you have access to this university as well. That yes, your mom might work here, your dad might work here. What's that?
I was just saying they're very selective, and I think that they probably only accept a certain percentage of each state.
There's Valerie.
Yeah.
Perfect. You know the answer to my question.
I will say, Lisa, based on what
She's the
you're
admissions
saying,
director.
one of the things that I find exciting is having been a secondary administrator is seeing kids not graduate from high school but go over to PVCC without a high school diploma and maintain a 3.0 in a certain track and go over to UVA, transfer right into UVA or transfer into, and that's not a lot of people know that.
Right.
So it's really just increasing the awareness.
The awareness
Yeah.
and saying that this is your university. I think that lots of students struggle. Some students that I see who are I teach at UVA, and some of them who are at UVA still have this dissonance between, should I really be here, et cetera, et cetera. And I know that part of the mission of the admissions department is to say that this is your university. I think that seems to me more, I think that's even more valuable for students whose parents have never gone to college, or whose parents might work in certain jobs that might not allow that, or they see it as not allowing that. To tell them that that's an option for you.
Sure.
So, I don't know.
One quick follow-up. Have we tried any of these collaborations, particularly with UVA, that invite parents to participate, as well as having the exposure to the kids?
We have not yet, and I think, it's a growth process, and I definitely think, I'd like to entertain that process of, not only when we take kiddos over to the university, but we open it up to families to come on that field trip with us and to be able to see what our kiddos are seeing over at the university. So I think that's a great point.
But sometimes it's also hard because I know, this group has worked very hard to set up these cooking activities in the classrooms, and that there are times that we struggle to get parents to come in, even for that. So.
Yes, this is our guest speaker. Well done.
I feel like I walked in the midst of something here.
We're warmed up. We are warmed up.
We're warm now. We're warm now. And we're very glad to have you here.
Wow, it's very nice.
I just want to jump in, we're so happy to have you here. Some people are going to have to, the childcare wraps up around 7:30.
Okay.
So if some people, and I've got to go to an orchestra concert, so if some people go, that just might be, but then whoever can stay can stay. So, but thank you for coming.
No problem, not at all. I was asked to come and talk about financing and trying to get ready to pay for a college education. I work in admissions, don't do a lot with the financing, but I am the liaison to the financial aid office, because it seems to be apparent that if somebody has a question about financial aid, instead of calling the financial aid office, they tend to call our office. And so we do have to handle a lot of those initial conversations and things going along those lines in terms of how you begin to prepare for that. It's gruesome when you look at price tags, when you think about the fact that I tell my daughter who's in college, I purchased a luxury car for 4 years for every year that she was in college. And I never got a chance to ride in that. So it is a little frightening, and I just want to share some of the things that particularly in this day and time what's kind of going on in terms of financial aid processes, what's happening, the difference between schools. Public schools and private schools handle it very differently. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that people and families don't understand. They think that all colleges pretty much handle it the same. Most state college has a commitment to the state residents, and so they do try to do more in terms of helping students finance and education. They do have to follow a lot more regulations and rules according to both the state government and the federal government. So sometimes it's not quite as easy to give out money for state schools. And particularly in this day and time, when you think about all the kind of political scenes that we have here. You know, the Michigan case with the Supreme Court cut out a lot of kind of quote-unquote race-based or merit-type scholarships along that line. Athletics now are under a lot of kind of scrutiny about how they're also just, you know, giving money. And it's becoming kind of a more of a political field, and public schools have to adhere to a lot of rules in terms of what's going on and how they can manage and things along that line. So almost one of the biggest misnomer, like for the University of Virginia, which is a state school, is we do not have a lot of merit scholarships. And I think that's always the most disappointing thing when a family says, my student has worked hard, he's #1 in his class, you know, he's done everything to get in, and we're like, mm-hmm. And then after that, it's like, so why are we not giving money to that kind of student that comes along? And again, it's all about the state regulations and things. And so the alumni, what you do is get private organizations to take on those things. So like for a public school like us, our alumni association does that. They have a Jefferson Scholarship that pays for pretty much for everything for about 40 students. They have tons of other kinds of merit-type scholarships. And so you have to do your research on that, because a lot of times that typically means another application process, maybe an interview process or something else that you're going to have to go through. So most public schools have what we call private organizations, because our alumni association is considered a private organization, to be able to handle those kinds of merit. But the institution itself has made a commitment to fund students who are low income. We've made a commitment. We're a state public school. And you know, the thought was we should be making access to anyone who wants to come to a state institution. And we as an institution has made a decision that's where our funding is going to go. Now, private school is completely different. Because they're private, they tend to raise their own monies and endowments. They can do anything pretty much they want to do with their funding. So they will look for that #1 student or that student who's at the top of his class. They're also available to negotiate with a little bit. You know, if you didn't quite get the package you want, you could kind of go back to a private school and say, my child really wants to come here. You know, is there anything you can do to help? And if they see it as someone they really want, they can kind of negotiate. You can kind of play that game with them. Public schools have no room for negotiation whatsoever. It is what it is. If you qualify, you qualify. If you don't, you don't. And it's kind of the end of the story. But private schools do have a lot more flexibility in terms of that. And the other thing, as you're looking at financial aid, you know, the price for going to college is just like a sticker price on a car. It's very rare that any students are there that are paying that full price. What you may also, two things you need to think about when you're looking at colleges are, one, if a college says they provide or meet 100% of your financial need, that means they are going to make some attempts to try to, whether it's in loans or student work study, they're going to make some attempt to try to meet your need, and what is called demonstrated need. And you know, you probably heard, you got to go through a whole lot of forms, the FAFSA, which is a free form. Some colleges have their own forms, they use forms. And from that information, they determine what your need is. And they do try to meet that need 100%. The other thing that you think about at schools and looking for schools, don't let the price tag scare you, because sometimes you get more money at an institution that has a higher price tag. And there's a whole chart, if you look on there, you'll see like a school, I was just recently I saw a college that cost about $15,000 to be able to go there. The family came out with about $2,000 worth of need that they needed to have fulfilled. But they ended up that family at that school was actually going to pay $8,000 to attend that school. And then we did the exact same thing with another school that cost $51,000, and at that school, that student was only going to pay $2,000. It really varies. So I really try to encourage families not to do the price tag thing at the beginning. It's really something you need to do at the end, because you may be pleasantly surprised in terms of what you might be able to get despite what the price tag is. So, you know, it's about finding a good choice and a good fit for your student, for your child. That's where they're going to be grown, you know, and nurture and do all the things that they're going to do. So, you know, that's something you have to do, you know, at the end of the process. When you talk about scholarships as a whole, there are millions of dollars of scholarships and private scholarships that are out here that go untapped. And basically it's because people don't work in terms of being able to do that. It's a process, and it should be a process that your child goes through, and not necessarily you go through. It's also a process that can start as early as 10th grade, because there are scholarships that go out to students depending on where they're going to go earlier, and things along that line. The biggest thing that you have to be careful of is the scams that are out there. If you were to Google scholarship, you will get about 80 million hits of the kinds of websites that are out there for scholarships. If anybody's asking you to pay anything, if anybody's asking you for credit card information, if anybody will call and say, you are a finalist in our scholarship program and you didn't apply for a scholarship program, you will not believe some of the games that they play in terms of being able to make money. And a lot of people, particularly in these times, we're finding desperate are falling for them because they make it very simple. And they make it very official. They make their websites look very official. They make the mailings that they send look very official. If you have any doubt, call the Better Business Bureau to be able to find out there. Most scholarships or good scholarship search engines, because that's where we tend to go, tends to not charge you a dime. They're giving you the information free. And if anybody's asking you to pay for information, right then and there you should know it's not anything that I want to be able to find out about. The 3 best websites as your student move in is fastweb.com. Fastweb.com is a great website because what it does, it profiles your student. And your student or the child will fill out a profile about things they're interested in, their religion, family background, where you're from. And any scholarship that fits your child's profile, they're going to send you information on. It is a magnificent search engine that will continue to send things in according to your profile. And you can go in and change your profile and update it, you know, a woman who's interested in engineering or science.